Okay, Mike, part four. So you go racing 5 days a week. You love it in Ireland. You're not really a fan of betting, but have you ever considered becoming an owner, be it a horse outright or a member of an owners club or something like that? You want to get more involved?
No, not at all. And the reason for that is quite simply financial. You know, there is a limit to the leisure pound. Everybody has a different leisure pound size, and there are limits. And the fact is that hotel accommodation, train fares, annual memberships at racecourses, which I've got 7 annual memberships, and the all the accommodation and going racing. That is the limit to my leisure pound. So there's no room for anything else. And also, if I was a part share in a horse, and that horse was running at a meeting, and I wanted to go to another meeting, um, it's a tie down in many ways as well. Whereas I just love the sport in general, but the biggest reason is financial. There is a limit to the pocket.
Are you the sort of person that would enjoy going to a stable and getting up close and personal with a horse?
Um,
Seeing that
yeah,
side of it.
I'm. It's something I wouldn't mind. I mean, Ben Haslam very kindly invited me 2 or 3 years ago to have a look around the yard, and it was an interesting experience. Just to have a look at the horses in close up and everything. But I think it's important to stress that I'm a horse racing fan rather than a horseman. And I admire horsemen and horsewomen because they can talk to the horses. You have to have this. I think it's a natural instinct to be able to communicate up close and personal with horses. I would like to understand more about horse judging horse flesh. Anthony Bromley wrote a very, very good article in the Racing Post a few years ago where I picked a few pointers up from that. But yeah, I suppose I'd like the opportunity to learn to communicate with horses a little bit better because I did. There was a Meet the Grand National winners at Aintree a few years ago, and I was introduced to Pinot de Ray, and I could see by the horse's eyes, it was like, "Who's this coming up?" And he went, "Here we go away." There was no communication there, and the horse saw me as a threat, and I was a bit scared. And so, yes, I'd like to learn to understand horses more, but stable visits, yes, if the opportunity presented itself, it would be lovely to do so. And I have been to a couple. But I mean, for example, Lambourne Open Day, I'd rather be at Newcastle.
Okay, you say you got seven memberships. What? Just out of interest, what courses are there you members in?
Uh, Jumps only, Sandown and Newbury. Otherwise, in full, Cheltenham, Hexham, Cartmel, Stratford. I've just joined the Chester and Bangor combined, Punchestown, and did I say Hexham? I think that is it. Yeah, Perth. Perth, I've got as well for the summer.
Okay, now you told me that racing has greatly helped you through tough times. So how
Yes.
would that be?
Escapism. I think another way I would describe escape racing is escapism remaining real. If you go through my book collection, you won't find any novels, but it's littered with autobiographies. I don't like fiction. So my escapism has to be fact. My other great escapism is music. But I mean, I've fought loneliness during the '90s, bitter loneliness through 5 or 6 years, and racing was always the thing that got me out of that feeling. During the death of my parents, when I had to deal with my mother's estate single handedly, racing got me through. She died on the 19th of December, 2022. I spent the whole of the Christmas holiday watching all the racing on TV. So I watched every race from Boxing Day to New Year's Day. That diluted the other things that were going on within a week of her death. And that sort of thing. It's my go-to place when I need cheering up.
Okay, so
And
what is it about? Yeah, carry
thankfully
on.
these days I don't. Thankfully these days I don't need cheering up quite as much as I did on occasions in the past in my life. But I still go racing anyway, so I don't just go racing to cheer me up.
Okay, what is it? Just can you tell us exactly what it is about going racing that does it for you? What you've got a
Yeah.
passion for it. What is it?
Jim McGrath once owned a horse called Fresh Air and Fun, and that's a good starting point. I'm very much an outdoor person. My favourite ceiling is the sky, And I like to be out in the fresh air. I'm a keen walker anyway. I do a lot of walking. I walk at least 10,000 steps a day, maybe sometimes 15 to 20,000 steps if there's a lot of walking involved. And you're out with the horses. I love to be out with the horses all the time. To actually see them in going round and everything, to actually come in on the track, you've got the anticipation of the day ahead. You're settling down to watch what you enjoy, and you're having having a look through the card and all the rest of it. It's just the absolute perfect day in every way outside with the horses.
Can you not get that same buzz watching it on the telly?
No, no. The only advantage of watching on TV, I mean, I don't watch live racing on TV, but I've got the racing TV and at the races, and I watch all the replays when time allows. The only advantage of that is that you're able to watch, the time allows to watch racing from all the fixtures. Whereas if you're going racing, the clock just doesn't allow to watch some of the away meetings and things. So that's the only advantage. But no, I'm not really a TV person.
So
I'm
you
an
don't.
SSL.
So you wouldn't sit at home watching the racing on the telly if you couldn't make it for a day.
Well, if I couldn't make it for a day, I'd watch for a while, but I'd probably be crawling up the walls after about 2 hours. So I'd probably have to go out for a walk or go and do some shopping or something like that.
You mentioned your walking's a passion of yours as well. Do you manage to combine the two hobbies?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, it's 12 miles walk every time I want to go to Bangor from Ruabon Station. And there's a very nice pub on the way back called the Cross Foxes, which I usually
How
call
far is
into.
it?
But 6 miles each way from Ruabon Station to Bangor.
Well, you walk it.
Yeah, both ways. Yeah.
Weather?
And thankfully, Bangor is a spring and autumn course more than a midwinter course. And the days when Bangor race in midwinter, there's other meetings I normally want to go to. So normally, when I go racing at Bangor, you've usually got 2 hours of daylight after the last to get back. But no, I'm not bothered about the weather. There's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing for the weather. That's as simple as that. There's no problem there. But the only exception I would say to that, the only weather that I would run inside and wouldn't go anywhere near outside is thunder and lightning. I will not be seen outside during thunder and lightning. That's it. I'm petrified of the stuff. So, but aside of that, heavy rain and strong winds, I'm not bothered about at all.
So when do you start planning your year? Do you usually plan it that far in advance? Or do you do it weekly? Do you do it monthly?
Usually, when the fixture list comes out in September for the following year, I'm usually planning for up to a year ahead. Like the other day, I was up till the early hours sorting out my Irish visits, because this year I've got one ambition this year now. There's 18 Irish race courses I've yet to go to, and I've planned them all out to visit this year, because now I've taken semi-retirement. I can do a lot of the things I couldn't do before when I was in full-time employment. And the big goal this summer is the 18 Irish race courses I haven't been to. And that's, sorry.
No, you carry on.
So that's obviously taken a lot of planning to know where I'm going to stay. And the final piece of the jigsaw puzzle fell into place with Listowel a couple of days ago.
So you're going to do it in one hit. You're going to go over there and then work out a route to do the wall in one trip.
No, it'll be over about 10 trips, over about 10, 11 trips, backwards and forwards. But it's easier to get to Ireland. It's easier to get to Ireland from Birmingham than it is to get to Scotland on the train from Birmingham. It's 40 minutes on the flight. It's the doddle, absolute doddle. I've been to Naas and Navan on a day return this year, and I was less tired when I came back than I went to Kelso on a day return. It's Ireland is because of the planes. It's dead easy, and I'm really looking forward to it. And also next year, as one-offs, I hope to go to Dubai and the USA, but they're not at the top of my list of priorities. I am looking forward to going to Cannes at Christmas this year. That is something else I've got on the list for this year.
Are these race meetings further afield something new, or have you been further afield already racing other than Ireland and Great Britain?
I went to Paris 6 times between 1996 and 1998 to do the French tracks. I haven't been since. I hope to go back this year to visit the new Longchamp, but I don't know why, but the French racing didn't really light my fire like it does in Ireland and Britain. But I wouldn't mind going to see the new Longchamp, perhaps on Prix de Moulin Day or something like that, and perhaps do a revisit to a couple of them. But I think it disappoints me. The negativity I read on social media disappoints me because, it's the old thing. How many National Hunt fans does it take to change a light bulb? 50, one to change it, and 49 to tell you how much better the light bulbs were 40 years ago. And things of that nature. You can't. Racing evolves like everything, and at the moment, the best horses are in Ireland. Now, the reasoning for that is another topic of discussion. We take another hour just talking about that by itself. But for the moment, the best horses are in Ireland. We have to encompass what we've got, and even though we probably haven't got the greatest steeplechasers of all time at the moment, we've still got the steeplechasers, and we've still got racing. And like things like last week, for example, Susan Corbett had a double. Super trainer up in the Kielder Forest. Small trainer, she had a double. One on Saturday, one on Sunday. That's to Susan, that's a Cheltenham double. A small trainer with two big winners at a Grade 1 track, which incidentally is my favourite Grade 1 dual-purpose course in the country, Doncaster. So that's a big event to Susan and her team of owners, and we should embrace that as fans as well as a big event, rather than just the Cheltenham events.
Okay, finally then, Mike, as a fan, and you've certainly got a right to your opinion, the amount of support you give to racing. What would you change?
Me, I would all the big races I would hold outside the Monday to Friday 9 to 5:30 working week. So in other words, I would make Cheltenham Festival Thursday to Sunday with all the handicaps on Thursday and Friday and all the Grade 1s and Grade 2s on Saturday and Sunday. People will be screaming at the screen this very second that I say that, but you asked my view. Basically, I would mirror our calendar more or less the same way they do it in Ireland and France. Because in Ireland and France, all the big races, apart from the festivals, do take place on Saturdays and Sundays. And I just think we've got to project our sport. We've got to tell everybody that we've got this greater sport. Martin Cruddas said one thing in his interview when he said that it's difficult to sell national hunt racing abroad. That's correct. That's the same way as the USA trying to sell baseball abroad, or the Irish trying to sell hurling and camogie abroad. It's their number one sports, but it's very difficult to sell it abroad. So that's fair enough from an overseas betting perspective and all that. So that's fair enough. But we've got the best national hunt racing in the world. Us and Ireland, we can stand proud that we've got the best national hunt racing in the world. And we should be singing that from the rooftops rather than moaning about it, because it's not quite as good as it was a few years ago.
Excellent. Okay, well, Mike Parcej, really appreciate your time. Happy travels on the turf. Thanks, Mike.